everyone, in this video I'll go over my 6 top tips to speed up your weight loss on a plant-based diet. Hopefully you've watched a couple of my other videos and you now understand why a whole food diet is best. If you're not following a whole food plant-based diet, that's your first bonus tip. Whole foods are the healthiest of all foods. I will link a video which explains exactly how to start a whole food diet and everything that means. The link will be in the comments. If you follow these 6 tips, you will speed up your weight loss. It's physically impossible to be overweight after using these tips in conjunction with a whole food plant-based diet if you're doing everything consistently for a period of time. And that's not just my opinion, that's physics. So these 6 tips do work if you work them. Okay, let's jump in. So tip number 1, eat only when you're physically hungry. Ask yourself if you truly do need food, or is it just time to eat according to the clock? Let your body be the driving force for food intake, not the clock. We've all been programmed to eat at certain times, but what if our body isn't physically hungry when it's time to eat? If you're not hungry, it's a little bit like filling up a gas tank when it's full of fuel. If we keep eating more fuel when our tanks are already full, the extra fuel, or in this case calories, will spill over into our fat cells. So that's tip number 1, is to get used to asking yourself if you are physically hungry. Tip number 2 is to try intermittent fasting in the morning. Even if you're only fasting for a couple of days a week, it really does help to cut unnecessary calories out of your diet. Did you know the whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day first came about by an advertising campaign from a breakfast cereal company? That's right, it's got nothing to do with nutrition and it's got nothing to do with health. We should be eating when we're hungry. We don't need to force feed ourselves in the morning just for a company that wanted to sell more breakfast cereal. So that's tip number 2. Also, just a little added tip here, if you are currently exercising, you should be exercising at that time of day as well, because if you're exercising in a fasted state, your body will naturally use up the glycogen that you have stored in your muscles, and then if you wait a couple of hours after you've finished exercising to have your first meal, in that couple of hours, your body will naturally dip into fat stores, and that's how you can burn off extra fat. Tip number 3 is to cut out all oil and processed sugar. So what I mean by processed sugar is things like fruit juice or dried fruit. Both of those things do not grow on trees. Well, the dried fruit does, but not in the dried state. And what they've actually done is, with the fruit juice, is they've taken all of the fiber and all the substance out of that food, and now it's just concentrated sugar, which is not good for your insulin levels. And you know what insulin does? It stores fat. Same with dried fruit. They've taken the water out. So now, instead of having one piece of fruit, you'll be having a handful of dried fruit, which in reality is like 10 pieces of fruit. So you're getting a lot more calories and the sugar is very condensed. With oil is very, very high in calories. Oil is 100% fat, and fat has 9 calories per gram when compared with carbohydrates and proteins, which only have 4 calories per gram. You can see how the calories add up very, very quickly. And you don't see oil trees in nature. There is actually no food in nature that we would naturally eat that is concentrated oil. So we're probably not meant to be eating it. So you can still have whole fruit, of course. But if you're cutting out oil and processed sugars, you will be drastically reducing your calorie intake. Is to stop eating at night time. Snacking in front of the TV is usually mindless eating, and it increases our calorie intake. And if we're eating in front of the TV, we're more likely to be eating crap. You should have had dinner and then cut off your eating. You can still drink water if you need something, but you should not be hungry after dinner anyway. So cut it off and you will instantly notice a difference in your weight loss results. Tip number 5 is to fill up on veggies first. No matter what meal you're having or what snack you're having, you should be filling up on vegetables first. There is a wide variety of vegetables to choose from. You don't have to worry about whether they're starchy vegetables or not starchy vegetables. It really doesn't matter. All vegetables are so low in calories that if you're filling up on veggies first, you will be full, and you'll be full on less calories. And then, of course, you add things like your legumes and beans. You can make soups, salads, or just steamed veggies. It really doesn't matter how you do it, but get your veggies in first. And tip number 6 is to have a food routine. So what do I mean by this? I mean, follow your own hunger, but once you get into that routine or that habit of following your own hunger, you will notice that you get hungry at about the same time every day. And if you follow a routine, it takes away the opportunity for you to snack or binge eat when you shouldn't be eating because you're not hungry. There is no opportunity really to be putting junk in your mouth if you're following a food routine that is specifically designed for your body. If you can get into that habit, you will notice very quickly that your weight starts to come off. It just falls off immediately because you're intuitively eating. So I hope these tips were helpful for you. Please let us know in the comments how you go with these 6 tips. And don't forget to like the video if you found this helpful. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.